first thing I want you guys to work on is going to be the basic way of opening the guard while on your knees, right? It's important that you have a good posture. So before talking about how to properly open, let's quickly drill what is a good posture and how that should feel like, okay? So I'm going to look to grab my partner's belt, and I'm going to look to place the belt in the heel of my hand right onto my partner's rib cage. So the rib cage forms almost like this shape right here. So I want my heel of the hands to connect right on the corner of their rib cage. From here, this is a dynamic thing. So for example, if my partner is trying to pull my head down, then I can use that to push myself and keep myself far from my opponent. But if my elbows are extended, there is room under for my partner to start breaking my grip. So if I feel that, I'm going to start lowering my posture. So this is a dynamic thing. I'm not going to be sticking to just one posture and being stiff, right? So the game will be the following, or the drill will be the following. Top player will get the belt and position it along the rib cage. And bottom player will be trying to do two things. Break the posture, not only with your arms, but also by pulling with your knees. And besides trying to break the posture, trying to get the hands away from here. So if my arms are fully extended, he has a clear path to start breaking that grip. If I'm here and I start seeing that he's looking for that, I can bend my elbow and get my weight on top. But at the same time, he can shift towards my head now. So now I need to start pushing away. So I have to feel what the bottom player is doing and act accordingly. Sounds good. So let's just do this posture drill. 1, 2. Since you guys are in a trio, just take a look at the timer. Whenever it's 30 seconds or so, you guys can switch roles, okay? Keep your good posture. If your partner cannot break it, you're doing a good job. Nice. You guys can rotate in now. So, if you were just on top of the pole, you can go on your back. And then Christina goes on top. That way you guys switch positions every time. Try to keep your posture right. So away from them. Now, I just gave you guys one option, which is holding both grips on the belts. Now we'll accomplish the same thing, but using different grips, okay? So now I'm gonna use 2 collars and feed it to one hand. And when I do so, I wanna feed it right around that same area of the rib cage. So I don't want it too high on the chest or close to the neck. I don't want it too low, close to the belly, okay? If this is too high, he can easily pull me into him, and he's gonna be able to hug me. And if my hands are too low, they're so low that as he starts pulling, I keep holding, but he's still going to be able to break my posture. See? So I have to find a sweet spot there, and that's going to be the solar plexus along the rib cage. So I feed 2 collars to one hand, and then I make sure that I position my arm in a fashion that you guys were just practicing. So it's going to be, again, a blend and dynamic between having to bend that elbow and having to push that away. Notice how I'm using mainly the heel of my hand to push away, so I'm not trying to push like this. If I hold the collar and hold it like so, it's easy still for my partner to start peeling my hand away from me. So it's important that I position my arm like so. I have always a little bit of a bend, and then if he's reaching for my head, I always extend a little bit more. But notice how it's not just my arm that extends, it's my torso that moves away as well. And if I feel him trying to break that grip or attack an armbar on that arm, whatever, I just drop my weight on top of that arm. So I now keep my arm safe, okay? So it's supposed to be dynamic, all right? So these are the similarities. The difference is the grip, of course. So I'm going to keep this away to pin my partner away from me. Now, the second grip, you can make it on the belt. Sometimes the belt is untied or loose, so you can just grip the pant by the seam here, okay? So I grip that, and my goal, as you guys can see, are my grips to keep my partner away from me. So I have to grip in a fashion where I use the heel of my hand to keep pushing my partner away. Now I'm going to look to bring one knee to the center line. In this case, it will be the same side knee as I'm holding the collar. So I'm going to bring my knee right on the center in front of his tailbone, and my other knee will slide out. Notice how my head immediately went and stayed to this side. Because notice how all my bases of support are here. What is supporting me to that side there? Nothing. So if I bring my knee to the center line and my head stays to that side, I'm off balancing myself. And then once he knocks me here, as I try to scissor my legs to go back on top, he's most likely going to beat me to it, see? Because his legs are already scissored. So, another important detail, once your knee goes to the tailbone and you open your other knee out, keep your weight to that same side. And that's normally when your opponent will start going desperate to pull you back because they feel they're gonna lose this. So that's where I want you guys to do that practice also of bottom player. When you feel this, don't just kind of let go and relax. Try to pull them even more because that's when you're really gonna have to test this. And now as I feel my partner cannot break my posture, I'm gonna keep walking back on my knees and I'm gonna start curling my spine. And notice how by the curl of my spine is what makes that open up, okay? So if anything, if you want to think about it simple enough, I'm trying to move away from him and keeping him from following me. So if I just move away like this, he can easily follow me. So I address that issue. I'm going to stop him from following me here. So this stops his upper body. To stop his lower body, my knee is going to come into play. And then I keep my good base of support. Now I don't just try to push him down. He's going to try to pull me in. I just stay safe in a good posture. And now I start walking back on my knees and curling my spine. Notice how that's going to pop eventually, okay? So, of course I would keep passing guard, but just for the sake of the practice, go back inside the guard, open up to the other side. It's always normal to have a better side than the other, so do a 3-to-1 ratio if that's the case. So 3 times to the good side, 1 time to the side that is, let's not call it bad, not as good side, okay? 1, 2. Girl, once I walk back enough where I feel the feet are really tense behind me, that's the curve is going to pop a little bit.
And so my knee, I guess, is not long my back.
Put it right on the table. So that should be stopping his hip. But the other thing is you don't want to walk back a lot of way. When you lose a bit of support, walk to this side here a little bit. And now walk back a little bit. Yeah, now your hands should be pushing him away. Your hands should be pushing him away. So notice how once you move away, then his body cannot follow. In beginner's jiu-jitsu is the top player not necessarily knowing what a good posture is, because sometimes you just don't know any better. So you're just thinking you're in a good spot, but not necessarily in a good spot. So from here, if Joey is doing something or nothing, I'm always going to look to go here. A lot of times I start playing his game, so he grabs my sleeve. And then instead of me focusing on making my grip, I want to clear this sleeve. And then he's exposing my back. And then I lost my balance. And then I'm fighting him here. So it becomes a random athletic battle for superior position rather than a clear situation of what is a good position. So a good position is he should be able to touch me, of course, but he shouldn't be able to control me. So if he tries to pull me down and he's able to pull me down, it shows he's controlling me. But if he tries to pull me down and he cannot, it shows he's not controlling me. If he tries to push me back some way, somehow, and he cannot do it, it shows I'm under control and he's not. So be patient sometimes, guys, to feel that. Sometimes you're too caught up on trying to escape and then you're maybe wasting energy and missing opportunities. Lucio does this very well. I actually learned these details with Lucio, and notice how he's normally very calm and patient, right? When you see him opening the guard, it's almost like it may take up to 3 minutes, but he keeps the same facial expression until eventually it opens up, right? So it's important to understand that, but important to understand that the reason he's so calm is because he's safe. So really focus on having that control, okay? That being said though, not always I'm going to be able to get there. A lot of times my opponent is resisting a lot. They're really trying to break grips. I'm getting my knee under, but then I'm getting off balance. And then it's not happening on my knees. So I'm going to choose to open standing now. So let's just move back a little bit. So now I'm going to start with the same grip. And maybe I was trying to get my knee there, but I couldn't. So I'm just going to look to grab the same side sleeve and pin that to my partner's hip. Okay? When I pin, it's important that I pin, again, using the heel of my hand against the hip. So I'm not trying to pin on the chest. I'm not trying to pin on the floor. I'm pinning right on top of his hip. If my elbow is bent and my partner is strong, such as Joey, he can start pulling his elbow up towards the ceiling, and then that's going to start breaking that grip. See, I'm just holding on with my fingers. It's not useful. So when I put this here, I want to extend my elbows and drive my weight on top, because now my whole weight is spinning that arm. If I stay here for 10 minutes, maybe he's going to release his arm, but for 10 seconds, I'm sure I can control. So that gives me enough time to step my same side foot by that side, because if he tries to control my foot, he cannot. His arm is trapped. If I do this, but I step the other side, he can attack my leg. So that's why I'm going to favor stepping this leg first. And when I step this leg, I'm going to use my hand to make it clear. As I step my leg, I want his hips to raise and turn in here. Okay? So notice how, close your guard, depending on where I step my leg can step up, but his hips may be in place. But depending on how I step up, especially if I use my thigh to raise his hip up, I can kind of turn his hip, see? And then my grips would be here, controlling him. And now as I stand up in a lunge position. So that foot that is back will stay back. My leg is just gonna extend. And I'm gonna face away from him as I torque my knee into his hip. And that rotates his spine, see? And that makes the legs open up. From here, I would start passing guard in another way, but just for the sake of the drill, I will go right back, make my grips again. Here I'm gonna do the other side, but you guys can do the same. Remember, once you grip here, they're probably gonna start fighting, so don't try to fight them with your elbow bent. Extend your arms and shift your weight there, okay? Hey Victor, but I'm kind of losing my posture. Indeed, I won't be here like this. I'm just shifting my weight to step my foot up, which gives me base of support. Toes on the back foot. If I try to stand up and all my weight is on my legs, it's heavy. So I shift my weight to my opponent. As I stand up, my knee torques his hip. From here, I'm out of the close guard. Let's try the second way. 1, 2. There you go. Could you feel the torque that you get with it? That's the idea. It takes on my position. Nice. Say, just try not to drop on your knee, because you're going to do all that to drop on your knee and fall back in close guard. So as you open, move away. Right, John, go again. You're without balance. So take a leg position. So when you lunge, you gotta be like even with the body weight. You're kind of over. It's like 90% of your body weight is on your front legs. If anything, most of the body weight will be on him. So now step your right leg up. Step a little bit further forward, just to help you have more mobility. Now shift the weight to his body. Now lunge up. Just lunge up. Don't even think about it. You had a way better structure to do that now. So we still have the rotation to it. Step the foot up. Find a good spot for it first. Now rotate your right knee in. Yes. And if I opened on my knees, I can always choose to stand up. And if I opened up standing, this is the position I want to be on, right? So whenever or however I open the guard, I'm always looking to kind of go back facing my opponent. And then this is where we're going to do the drill. Don't focus so much on the technique. If you make mistakes, you can always fix it next time you do it. But it's just going to be 1 minute of guard passing doing the bullfighter, okay? So you can grip the outside of the pant. Since it's a fast drill, you can even skip that and just use C-grip control on the legs here. And then from this position, I want to start by stepping out to the side I'm going to pass. And then I'm going to cross step close to a knee on belly position. And then I have to adjust my foot again, so I align my feet again so I can easily drop to a good knee on belly position. So I don't want to be kind of like this, because see how my body is kind of turned. I don't want to be too close, because then he can control my leg. So I have to be in a position where I have a good knee on belly-like position. The only difference is the hand that I had on the knee, as I come here, goes to the shoulder. And then to come out, my hips come up. I start shuffling back. I'm going to open the same side leg. I'm going to cross step. I'm going to fix that line. I'm going to drop with my hand on the shoulder, and then I'm going to come back. And then I'm just going to keep repeating this as fast as I can, going from side to side. So that's what I'm saying. If you make a mistake, don't stop and say, oh, but here, just keep going. Okay? 1, 2. Side to side, guys. Halfway through, halfway through. You already notice how my foot and toes are towards his hip line. And then I'm going to start posture, tall posture. And then I'm going to squat down, going into a knee on belly-like position. Both my hands will go over his shoulder. I'm going to switch knees. So notice how as my other knee comes in, I lift both my heels up in the air. So now I can windshield wiper. And then when I dismount, notice how I don't have a good leg positioning. So I'm going to make sure I open that good leg positioning. And then I go all the way up high. So notice how my initial position is my ending position. And then from here I just go back down. Knee on belly-like position, hands over the shoulders, switch the knees. Wide, good base of support, all the way up. And then just try to do this as fast as you can. So it doesn't have to be too fast, but get a rhythm and keep it for the full minute. Okay? 1, 2. Nice leg up, go back into it. Over the shoulder, squat. Whoever's on the bottom, guys, lift your hand up off the floor, contract your abs. Don't be fully relaxed, otherwise it may be uncomfortable. Halfway through, halfway through. Let's go. Keep it up here. You guys are specific sparring. Start from close guard. Top player is trying to pass. Bottom player is trying to sweep. If you guys end up in other guards, just keep going until there's a pass or a sweep, okay? Or of course a submission. When that happens, you guys can switch top and bottom. Sounds good? After the timer is done, you guys just switch partners and on yourself, okay? Is that good? Yeah. Cool. Let's do it. First, not only that, but sweeping or submission. They're trying to open her legs as you practice it. Submissions are allowed. Sweep, pass, every time someone wins that. Yeah, now you can. Try to sweep anyone you want.
Pressure.
Go on the back, and then you need to go on top. So proceed on the top. Yeah? Because you were just on top, right? So whenever you guys switch, you switch. Nice and fast now. Oh, okay. So I knew there was a resistance. You were one step away from going through that, right?
I stepped up and eliminated.
You got it, yeah. If you still feel you need to go slower because of that, just let your partner know.
Yeah, I got a couple. Well, I'll just close injured.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Did you want to do defense or the foot guard? I was just on the. What were you doing before?
I was in this position. You want to switch? Yeah.
Try to stand up too fast. Bullfighter. Nice, Christina. Keep your balance. Posture up. Try to push your chest away. Yeah. Regain your posture. Perfect. The body is screwed. You guys can screw it with the so I don't have more room. 3 minutes. Posture up. Push it over. Push it over. Okay. Other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. I'm not gonna extend myself too much. I'm happy that this worked out. Hey, let's do this together. Very good, guys. Good job. Good job.
Thank you.